Greetings. Welcome to Of Darkness and Light. My name is Daphne. I wanted to talk about real life sports in their current state and how I feel about them genuinely. I'm excited about the World Cup. It's always one of my very favorite times of sporting. I don't really care about Olympics, except for the sports that I actually care about, which are usually like the snowboarding competitions, and if you're talking about the Winter Games, pretty much just that. And um, then with the Summer Games, it's just like football, which I'm going to call it soccer. Um, it's just too literal. And I call American football because that's the way even Americans should do it. Because the other game is played with feet. Okay. Um, so, table tennis, we're putting that right up top 10. It is ceremonial, but also earned. It is in every human sport, but it is uniquely tuned to convince people they have a really good shot at it. And there's just like not any one dumbass that doesn't look at you like, "Oh, I'm gonna kick your ass," even unless they're really bad. Then they just do it as a joke, like, "Oh, I'm gonna kick your ass. I know I'm terrible." But then those people ruin the game most often because they're not even trying. They're trying to make a show out of how they're not as trained as you, right? So, sports glory, I have one with this one, which was I effectively emasculated my sister's husband in front of her. Um, and it was one of my favorite things I ever did. Um, I on a long list. I have a long list of favorite things I ever did. But let's get into it. He is a cheap bastard who has had his table in a small room he got used to, who had a singular tactic that was just a really hard psychological mindfuck he used to just own games out of people. And it's fair enough. But he would get you to do a warm up and he'd go boop, being such a bitch. And then he plays faster than anybody you've seen. And he just will wreck you and then be like, so he did that to me, playing to like 21, say. I think that's what we're playing to. He had some catch up time. Like, I just started chipping away at some points. I started getting him right at the end. I was like, fuck. But it wasn't, he was just too fast. And he just got in my head too much. He rattled my bones. And so I practiced in his little dungeon with my friend a couple times. And I challenged him again. And my sister was there. And I was ready for him to do his thing, which he did. And it only got me for the first couple of points. And then the game was just a battle. And it was just a slow breakdown of, she's winning this. I was a he at the time, but I wasn't ever. And that's what people should realize when they look at our history, is all our best times was me being a dyke. So that was what I was doing, was breaking someone's spirit and owning their table from them that I don't think they'd ever lost on before. And they certainly didn't expect me to be able to beat them on like a single rematch. And they never played me again. They were really hurt. And it was like, yeah, it was just one of those moments, dude. Sometimes I play 9-ball. I like 9-ball. And so that's why it is now on the list. It's the second one. It's number 9. It's perfect. What I had there before was competitive BMX, which is exciting to me. But I think 9-ball is another great top of the lister. But there's just transcendent moments. I have a dysfunction about making the long, simple angles. But you give me a challenge to skim one ball, to skim another ball that is the 9-ball and put it in the corner. And I'll walk around the table making everybody laugh because of how deep I'm focusing and how much I'm staring at the angles. And then I'll fucking nail it like a pro. And just be like, ha. But you give me one of those straight shots and I'll look at it forever. And I've tried to beat the, like, is it just like a mental condition? It's something to do with what goes on in my head. I just goof it every time. I could figure it out. Somebody could teach me. But I just fucking haven't figured out how to line up the long shots ever. But you give me a double angle 9-ball in the corner, and I will just find that point on the first one, and I'll walk over, and I'll figure it out, and I'll just do it. Sometimes. But that's why I love 9-ball, because it's just a very well-balanced game that you can win so quickly and can be so strategic, and it makes the pool table an adventure. 7 is not what we're talking about. We're talking about 8. I'm going to give it to handball because underrated. Just an underrated sport. So now we're into the underrated section. It's weird, but think about playing that. I never got to play that. I would obsess over playing handball, dude. I wrecked that game. It's just fast and it's physical and the rules seem weird, but you think about playing that game and it's fun as long as you're not the person standing in front of the little goal thing. Volleyball, another underrated sport. Really fun Olympic sport to me is like beach volleyball. I don't care for the big team game as much as I like the small squads. I like the 2-on-2s. Those get really exciting. It's just fun. It's a really cool sport, though. I like volleyball, and I was always good at it. I was more of a blocker and a setter. I'm a set machine. Just like these little, I just got really in just making the perfect set and then watching kids at school brick it most of the time. But I also worked at getting pretty good at serving too, because I liked the idea. It's just a hard sport to put it on the ground on the other side of the net on the first strike. And it's a fun challenge. And I like that. Because you just have to kind of mind fuck people into thinking they're all not the one to get it. Competitive skateboarding. It's just so addictive to watch, whether it's best trick contest, whether it's a street contest, whether it's a vert ramp contest. It's exciting. It's really, really fun. And my favorite are the big street bowls where it's just like, I want a skateboard really bad. If I had a skateboard, I would go to a skate park nearby and I would just learn finally from the ramps up, right? I would just start rolling until my balance would let me finally flow the way I wanted to on a skateboard. Because I never got there. I busted my tailbone really hard trying to drop into some shit backwards because nobody taught me. And I was just out. NBA basketball. It is a fickle sport in terms of the moments that are transcendent to most people, because it's a game of investment in the players, and it's a game of intuitive understanding of what's happening. You have to get used to the idea of it being exciting, how the teams shuffle so much every year, and how it's people trying to put together these squads and maintain them in a system that's built to dismantle competitive advantage, but gives you the opportunity to hold on to it if you're excellent. And so it's a really, really challenging concept in terms of team management. And so as a fan, you can watch as someone who is, because that's what the players themselves do. They're trying to, and then the people resent the players for like having a say in who plays on their teams these days. And it's just like, hell yeah, dude. How are we going to try and win this shit? It's really hard to win. But when transcendent games happen with balance all the way through, with big momentum shifts, with it all coming down towards clutch moments at the end of the game, with every person on the floor so focused on the moment of every second and not giving up even when they're down by a bunch because they know better, it's just the hottest thing. You have to get over the fact, like somebody explained it to me once, the reason their logic wouldn't let them enjoy basketball was because the score got so high and it was like the same thing at the very end. Why not just play the last 2 minutes? It's like, that's sometimes it's 150 to 80, dude, because when it gets to the last 2 minutes and the score is the same, that's a really, really cool game you're watching. Downhill, mountain biking. This is bolded because it is the biggest pile of unseen greatness I can even think of. These people are doing some of the craziest shit in the world, and it's so intensely addictive to be a spectator of and to be a fan of the people doing it, because they're just natural people who have chosen to get so good at something that is so dangerous that it's second nature. And there's a lot of extreme sports people that do this, but I don't see it more compelling in anything than downhill, because I wouldn't do that one. It's like I would learn skateboarding and slowly from the ground up as a human being be able to withstand the extreme nature of that sport, putting my body, like learning to fall is something I know I could figure out, and I already know that. But like, yeah, I even know I would race cars. I know I would do. But it's about building up to it and knowing what you could build up to. I couldn't build up to doing downhill race biking or like stunt jumping stuff. It's just insane to me, with the little wooden ramps and the split-second instincts, the focus, the concentrated focus and flow state. I can't imagine it doesn't kind of snap you into it, but the commitment to get there is incredible. I love surfing as well, and I love golf, and I could definitely consider those both sports. And I probably am going to definitely put surfing nowhere. I'm just going to talk about it because I like my list. Because handball's sick, dude. We need some team sports on this list. But F1 obviously has unseen elite athletes. People are just like, oh, these are race car people who just have good instincts. So, these are athletes that have trained their body. The ridiculous, ridiculous amount of concentrated, long-term focus is intensely cool. It's so cool. And it's another one of the sports where like basketball, where it's like the moment to moment is sometimes effusive in terms of how it could be entertaining, but it's about the people. It's about the championship. It's about the careers. It's about the technology in this world. And it's hot. It's about the speed, the danger. It's about the risk mitigated by excellence. It's about legacy. It's a really, really profound sport. And getting back to football, I'm going to be watching the World Cup, and I'm really excited about that. I love World Cups because people are playing for such passion when they find national teams that are really bound together, and it just turns into some of the best soccer ever. And when it comes to world leagues, obviously, English Premier League is it's the league that is not a championship, like shortened or truncated, like elimination system of length and points that is exciting all the way through. There's just such an energy to weekend mornings that you can feel. And you can feel the land, you can feel the legacy, you can feel the thrumming excitement of the crowds, and you can feel the history of really, really good tactics when you're watching the elite teams play each other. I'm a Liverpool bitch, and it's the way they play. It's the way they play. It's so cool. It's like it transcends who's the coach at the time. It's like they have an information of their personal culture and strategy that is infectious to the way that I like to enjoy watching the sport be played. And I think it's the hottest choice too. But obviously, the Champions League is right up there with the World Cup, and if not better in terms of competition. And it just lacks the passion sometimes with the kind of like professionalism involved. But it's like really once the teams get that good and they make it into the Champions League, it's a whole unit that's playing with the passion of excellence. But I put Isle of Man as well and MotoGP as one because that's the hottest athlete on the planet to me, is a MotoGP racer. I don't get the opportunity to follow it, but if I could follow one sport, it would definitely be MotoGP. And Isle of Man is just the sexiest thing on earth. I am so in to sports like that people want to ban. So into it. We're scaredy from people being excellent in ways that could be mortal. Let people live, dude. Life's an adventure. Some people believe in more after. Some people have science that proves that. Sometimes it's the atheists ruining the world because they're scared. So that's how it is. That's what's up. I hope you enjoy the World Cup. I root for the United States because it's a great underdog story in the World Cup, and it's infectious too. It pulls a lot out of teams that are undervalued for their intelligence because they don't have a legacy of strategy. But But that's why the passion pulls a lot out of us all the time, and we keep getting predicted to not make it, and we make it all the fucking time. It's because we're one of the best. It's just our professional league, the MLS, has none of the legacy, and too many American men in charge who think that they can figure out the game better than its history. And it's a shame because the players here are excellent. Excellent. Anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. MMA sucks. Boxing all the way if you're doing any of that. And professional wrestling is clearly the champion of all of it. Japanese professional wrestling is hot, and it's a moment to moment thing. But if you get one of those moments, it's fire.